it. Let me tell you the channels. First off, you can go to our website, and that allows you to stream live. Simply means that you don't have to be in Nigeria, you don't have to be in Lagos, you don't have to be on the island, mainland, anywhere in Lagos to listen to Smooth 98.1 FM. You just listen live via the website, which is www.smooth91.fm. And also, you can search for Smooth 91 FM Lagos anywhere as long as it is a radio streaming app or it is a website that allows you to listen to radio. So you just search for Smooth 91 FM Lagos and you will find the red and blue right there saying you love music and you love life. Now you can take a step further. If you want to see our faces, my face and my guest, go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/smooth 91 FM Lagos. That's the YouTube channel. That allows you to see our faces and also save the video. It allows you to share it with somebody who you think should listen to what we are sharing, and also allows you to be a part of the show by dropping your comments in the chat box. Now, another thing you can do is go to Twitter. It is at twitter.com/Smooth 91 FM. Basically, you're searching for Smooth 91 FM on Twitter. That's our handle. And then you can use the hashtag Office Journal 91. Lastly, you can send your WhatsApp messages to 0809-444-0981. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to business. We are talking about job interviews, and I will let you know that this discussion came as a result of a thread on Twitter that went viral. It was a particular Twitter user, I believe his Twitter handle is Director DG. He was asking people randomly, what was that time or what was that experience that made you realize you were not going to get that job after going for that job interview? And it had over, I believe, 6,000 retweets and quoted tweets, and also over 10,000 likes because many people could relate to it. So people started sharing their experiences, and it is something that has been normal and common when you go for a job interview and they ask you questions you have no clue whatsoever. You can't even find the link between that question and the company you have gone to interview with. So let's talk about job interviews, your role in preparing for that interview as the applicant, and the role of the HR or the interview panel or the hiring manager. Everybody should be responsible. So that's what we're talking about this morning. And then you can share your thoughts, share your opinion, your experience too on WhatsApp, on Twitter, and also you can call the line 014489981 is the call line 014489981. So let's get down to it. I have my guest who this is our second time on the show, I believe. She is someone who is an HR professional. Her name is Abimbola Balogun, and she is the co-founder of So Fresh Nigeria. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, thank you for being my guest again. It's a pleasure being here or having you here. Now, I know this is not new to you because you have been involved in tons of hiring. You've been on the interview panel of many, maybe many organizations aside yours, plus you're an HR professional and you also teach people,
Right.
you coach them, you help them understand what is required.
Right.
And you've also been involved with some applicants and maybe have an idea of the thought process of people out there, not to
Right.
even mention Generation Z. So I just want to get straight into it. The first one is that question. So I want to start asking those questions that we usually hear or we get asked when we go for a job. The interesting one is tell us about yourself when you go for an interview. And you're wondering, okay, why should I tell you? What are you exactly asking me? I already gave you my CV or my resume, as the case may be. It has my name, it has my whatever it is. So, what exactly is the desired aim? So, for instance, you are on an interview panel. You're asking someone, "Tell me about yourself." What are you looking to hear when you ask that question? Or is that question even relevant at all?
Thank you for that great question. Yes, so that question is very relevant. The obvious has have been stated in the resume, like you said, but the intention of that question is to get you to again within the first 10 seconds, your ability to actually engage, your the panel at that moment is very key. We're expecting you to say um, the relevance of how your ability is relevant to the job and why they should hire you. While you have stated, your educational qualifications, your achievements, and all of that on the face of it, we just want to put a face to this well packaged CV. And that interview, whether it's a face to face one or the virtual one, gives you the ability to connect to them. And they're looking at so many other things like your body language. They're looking at your ability to communicate effectively. They're looking at your ability to project yourself as being self confident. So it says not so much about what you say, but other non-verbal cues around what you're saying.
All right then. Okay, I get that better. Okay, so let's backtrack. Let's go now to the origin or to the beginning. Now, you as an applicant, you have seen a job offer or they have invited you for an interview.
Okay.
What is some of the things you should have in mind when you're preparing to go for an interview session?
Wow, another great question. So I'll break this into three. The things you should do before, during, and after the interview. So before the interview, it's your job to research about the company itself and the job itself. So you want to research into what the company does, their product, their services, how long they've been in business, because you would definitely put anybody off if you show up for an interview and you have no clue about what they're doing. So why are you here? So it's important to research that. And before you go for the interview, ensure that you also dress professionally. Dressing professionally doesn't mean you should wear something fancy, and just be neat. Let your outfit be well ironed. I mean, you don't want to wear something that will be distracting to the panel, but you want to go in a comfortable cloth that also projects your own professionalism as well. You also want to ensure that you're mindful, like I referred to it earlier, mindful of your body language, mindful of, you know, your hand gestures, you're mindful of how you're saying what you're saying, your posture, your eye contact, all of this, soft part of communication goes a long way. Ensure that you also listen attentively to the question being asked. So they're not asking A, you are answering Z, okay? It comes across as someone that cannot process information, properly. And it's also good to ask them questions if they give you an opportunity to, okay, you want to know more about certain things that are relevant, right, to your decision to taking up, that role. And afterwards, it's not a bad thing to send a thank you email if indeed you felt really good showing up for the interview and all of the experience that's transpired during the session. So you can also send a thank you email, but you don't want to overdo that by sending it again, sending them reminders that, oh, you haven't heard from them. That can also, disqualify or put them off about you. Yeah, so those are the key areas that I like to highlight.
I think you have touched on key areas that we need to further break down. You have highlighted them. For instance, you touched on that touchy topic of getting back. I think a good number, now I might not have the data handy, but I think it's almost not like a culture. You can call it a non existent culture here in Nigeria for organizations to get back to the applicants. So once they say, we'll get back to you, trust me, that's the end. But we'll just hold on that and take this break. After that, we'll further go into the role, because that's where we now touched on the responsibility of the interview panel, the hiring manager, or the HR. At least give them some closure. If at all you will not be hiring them, let them know, okay, sorry, we will not be hiring you. Instead of, we'll get back to you, that never comes after years. You're listening to Office Journal here on Smooth 98.1.
Love music, love life, Smooth 98.1.
Beat Sakma with Jumia Black Friday. From November 4th till the 30th, you can get access to all those products you've had your eyes on all year at prices that will leave some change in your pocket. You also don't have to pay for delivery fees on thousands of products when you order above 1,999 naira. T's and C's apply. Jumia, your everyday delivered.
You summon the oracle now. Greetings, my king. How can the oracle serve you? You will tell me the secret to your power. How did that keke move without a driver? My secret is the power of 5G. Tell me more about the power of 5G. With hyper-fast internet speed, slow to zero lag and buffering, multiple connections and quality data sharing, 5G will give you amazing things like remote surgeries, self-driving vehicles, instant file downloads, smart homes. 5G's amazing technology will change the way we experience life and the internet. Get ready to encounter the incredible. And remember, no be juju, now MTN 5G.
Press 1 for all your entertainment stories.
The buzz, the rumors, the big stories. Spice up your day with some entertainment on the Smooth Breakfast Show.
I'm one of the greatest, ain't no debate, no.
We've got your top trending stories from the entertainment scene on the front burner. It's movies, fashion, music, and everything in between. Tune in to The Grapevine and keep up with the Smooth Paparazzi as we bring you up to speed with the latest in the world of entertainment. It's all on The Grapevine every Tuesday and Thursday from 9 a.m.
This is Smooth 98.1.
That's very correct, and you're very welcome to join us here on the smoothest dial on Lagos Radio. It's Smooth. My name is Oluwaseun Olusegun. Right now, the name of the show is called Office Journal. As the name implies, we talk about everything relating to the corporate life and also the business life. We talk about things you should know and educate you, giving you extra information and knowledge. And this morning, we are beaming the light on interviews, job interviews. Before you go for that interview session, what should you do? My guest is Abimbola Balogun, and she is an HR professional. She has told you that you need to research about the company, the organization, the firm you want to work with. And you know, I mentioned earlier that this topic was sparked as a result of something that went viral on Twitter last week, and people just detailing their experience of when they knew they were not going to get that job. Now, funny thing is, one of the persons that replied on that thread said he was asked about the mission, the vision statement of the company he went to interview for, and he did not know it.
Whoa.
That after that, he just started searching for other jobs. Now, that's not the only thing. You mentioned the aspect of asking questions. Yeah. So, what you should do after the interview, you should, if they ask you, do you have any questions for us? Because I know that is one thing. Now, I'm beginning to wonder if whoever is on the interview panel, when they ask that question, if they really mean it. And I'll share this experience. The person said, interviewer asked me only 3 questions all through the interview. He then said, any questions? I asked him. No, he then said, any questions? I asked him 5 questions. Then he said, I guess you're the one to employ me. He laughed, I laughed, call ended, and just like that, they didn't get back to him. So, when they ask you any questions, first, what kind of questions are you supposed to ask them? And secondly, what are the boundaries? Any question that shouldn't be asked?
Well, thank you for that question. So I'll speak from, my experience, interviewing candidates. And we even, give them the opportunity to say, do you have any questions for us? Some of them, of course, say yes. And for those that say yes, a large chunk of them are very much interested in the growth opportunities that exist for them within the organization. So they want to know, what our training system looks like, what our training culture look like. They ask such questions, and they also want to ask about, the culture of the organization generally. They also want to ask about what are you hoping to, get, or what are the key KPIs for this role? What would mean, what would success on this role mean for the organization, right? So those are the relevant questions that I think a serious-minded candidate should be interested in knowing, right? So those are the kind of reasonable questions that I think they should ask.
Okay, so what if I am not clear about what they are explaining to me and I keep asking? Will I be a pest?
What you're not clear about what the
They
panel
explain.
they're
Or
okay. In response to your question now.
Yes.
In response to your question.
Yes.
Well, there are boundaries as to how far you can keep dragging them. But I
Okay.
think that if you're smart enough, you should be able to know if they don't even have a plan or a growth plan for their employees. You would know from their response. And I think a smart person should just stop at that point and don't push it into their faces to make it obvious like, oh, I'm not sure you guys have any plan for your staff, so what's the
Yeah.
point after all?
Okay, now let's talk about something that happens. They tell you that what was your last salary? I do not quite get the relevance of that question. So if probably you can explain. So when they ask what was your last salary or suppliers your last paycheck, what is the need in an interview session?
Well, the intention again is to be able to know at what
They should pay you.
to come, and so they don't want to perhaps lose this candidate, or they don't want to also maybe overpay. Most organizations don't actually have a structured salary and compensation plan, and so they want to look at what the current employer is paying you and how do we match that, or how far away from it can we go. So it's just for them to make an informed decision around salary, just to see what is this person earning now. If I pay lower, that would mean that I can also lose this person to another employer. All right, so how close do I want to match this offer, so that I know that this is a big risk and I'm prepared. So, or can we match it? Has this person given us anything to really work with and to value you as much as that? So it's just a subjective way of catching how to pay and how to value this employee. So for instance, there were times that these candidates will come and were all really blown away with the responses, with the accomplishments, and the person's personality and all of that. And then we ourselves will know that this person is worth this amount. So we don't ask these questions all of the time. I don't ask all of the time, but when it comes up, I don't think it's a reason to. It's one of the reasons that some people would even not want to make you an offer, because maybe you're even way above what they even plan to pay. So they just use it to make hiring decisions.
Okay, so for the sake of somebody who's willing or hoping to get extra information, when it concerns making offers and asking you about salary expectations, what's the most preferred way or the best way you think organizations should go about this? Because I saw someone who said, so they asked me for my salary expectation, and when I said it, they looked shocked. There have been situations where I personally have been in situations where I said how much I was hoping to get, and they look like, huh? Why do you want to collect assassin money?
They actually said
No, they didn't say that, but they have that look on their
Look on
face,
their
like, why
faces.
do you want us to pay you that much, or we don't have that much? So how should they go about the pricing, if I should call it that? If you're, because again, like you mentioned, some might want to ask for your paycheck just to get an idea of
Right.
how much they should pay you.
Right.
And I don't know if we can say there is something as overpay, unless the person is not worth it.
Right.
So how should they, as the individual now, you're giving information to the person who next interview wants to know how to place forward the amount should he or she should be paid, and the organization who is trying to play safe too.
Well, I think that if you truly believe that you are worth the amount that you given the organization, then you should stand by it. You're sure that you're not just being unnecessarily, you I won't say demanding, but I mean you're not just dishing out unrealistic expectations. You want to know, how much are your counterparts even earning in similar industry, and how much, do you believe you can add, to the organization as a value. These things are subjective because really there's no way to put a price tag on anybody's worth. But if that is what you cannot go below, especially if you've counted, or done an analysis of your expenses, throughout the month, and you already know that I want to have this in my account, at the end of all of those expenses or when I have taken them out. Just stand by it. It's up to them to make their decision. If they believe you're worth it, if they believe you don't worth it, it's on them. But I don't think that you should cut yourself short way below what you believe you deserve.
Okay. So one last question on the side of the applicant before we go to that of the HR. Now, when they ask you, why should we hire you? What are they asking? Because I'm not sure. So somebody again, you remember, well, I'll refer to the thread. Somebody said, when they asked, why should we hire you? She said, well, will you do the job yourself? Nigerians are rude.
That's totally off.
Because you put out an application saying you needed somebody to fill this role. I am here being interviewed and you're still asking me why should I hire you? So when they are asking you, what is the expected or most preferred answer?
Well, so the question why should we hire you can be asked in different ways. So, but because the why should I hire you is the most popular, line that's, is out there. The expectation of you as a candidate is to highlight again how your skills, your experience, your exposure, your education, all is a right fit for the role. So you want to tell them why you are the best fit for the job, and just highlight all of those key areas, your skills, your goals. You want to also show them that these are your career goals and it also fits into this job position at this time, and it's going to help take your career to the next level. It's also going to help you add a lot of value into the organization. You have the right skill set to also improve the team. So you are there to sell yourself, sell your skills, sell yourself, and then get into the heart of this panel and impress them, by the way you speak about who you are and what you can do.
Even though we know that some people are just there for the sake of the job to get the money, but at least try and make effort. That's the bottom line of this. Even though some, it's okay for you to change your mind from just wanting to work and get the money to
Right.
actually wanting, even if you're not there yet, pretend to be. You know what they say, fake it till you make it. So pretend to be interested in the organization, check them out, know more about them, and sell yourself. Who knows? You might even exceed or spend a short while there and do way better than
Right.
you can imagine. So
Imagine.
please put more seriousness into your job interviews. We'll take another break, and when we come back, we'll go back to that question on how and when should the organization get back to the applicant and just give them closure instead of we'll get back to you and nothing happens after. You're listening to Office Journal here in Smooth 98.1.
98.1.
If you had the opportunity to choose, would you work from
Thank
Sunday
you.
to October or just take a ride? Would you fly economy for 20 hours or just fly privately? So, why would you settle for less when you can enjoy much more when you open an account on the Carbon app? It's time to change the way you bank and open yourself to a world of financial freedom and convenience with a Carbon account. With a Carbon account, you can turn every purchase into installments at 0%. Create a savings plan and earn up to 15.5% interest. Enjoy cashback every month on all debit card spend and monthly interest by just leaving money in your account. It gets better. You enjoy free transfers, free debit cards, and so much more. You always earn with a Carbon account. Get started today by downloading the app from the Google Play Store or iOS App Store. Carbon. Change the way you bank. Look, there's no easier way to say this. Slow internet is bad for business. So, if you want what's best, get the Airtel Smartbox outdoor unit for SMEs.
Indeed. Do business at internet speed of up to 200 megabytes per second with the Airtel Smartbox outdoor unit for SME and enjoy instant access to other amazing offers. Dial 1010 toll free or send an email to airtelbusiness@ng.airtel.com to get started.
Airtel, the smartphone network. Funky Fly. Silky Smooth. 98.1.
It's the smoothest dial on Lagos Radio, Smooth 98.1. The show is Office Journal. We are talking about job interviews. My name is Oluwaseun Olusegun, and I am interviewing Abimbola Balogun, the co-founder of So Fresh Nigeria. She is an HR professional, and we are giving you extra information. Now, this is a part where you share your experience with us and let us know your thoughts so far on some of the things we have discussed. You can send your messages to 0809 444 0981. Again, it's WhatsApp. It is 0809 444 0981. Or you can tweet at us at Smooth91FM on Twitter. And also, you can go to our YouTube channel where we are streaming live. It is youtube.com/smooth91FM Lagos. We've been talking about what the applicant is supposed to do and get in their mind or put at the back of their mind before going for that interview. Now, let's cross over to the HR manager, the hiring manager, the interview panel. Some questions that they ask, and I will take this from someone who said he knew he was not going to get the job when he humbly asked the interviewer to return his resume and cover letter after they asked him who was the deputy governor of Adamawa State in 2015.
Whoa.
Now, the question is, what is such a question doing on the interview questions? Now, I might not know, so maybe you probably can help us shed more light on it. Is it that you're trying to know how current the person is? In 2022, when you're asking about who the deputy governor of Adamawa State was in 2015 and the relevance of it to that job. So, what kind of questions, what are the do's and don'ts of questions on interview panels or sessions, or in interviews rather?
Thank you for that question. With particular reference to this example, I think is very specific question that is quite hard. I'm not sure if I went for that interview, I won't feel like I'll feel woefully. But what I do know that there are some general questions that can be asked to test candidates' ability to think creatively on the spot. And maybe general questions like health is wealth, discuss. So I have been a part of a session where candidates were asked to pick random, questions, and then you open it up, you think about the statement for 15 seconds, and you have about 45 seconds to just say something about what you have picked. And these are general questions that is not, tied to an individual or a name or an event and all of that, just to, test your ability, like I said, to think creatively on your feet. Because the truth is, when candidates get hired, a lot of times there are challenges around the ability to, be proactive, to think and all of that. But that is just an assessment to gauge your ability, like I said, to think creatively. But I wouldn't know the intention of, those that ask that specific questions if it have no relevance, to the job or to the company in question, right? So general questions are asked just to test ability to think.
I'm very happy and excited that you mentioned that assessment because that's where my next question is coming from. Now, what are the boundaries of this assessment? And I'll give you an instance. So I remember again seeing somebody's comment on, I don't remember which of the social media platforms now.
Okay.
And he said there was a time he went for an interview,
Okay.
that the interview was slated for 8 a.m. in the morning,
Okay.
and they didn't turn up until around 6 p.m. in the evening.
Whoa.
Now, that was not even the gag. What they said was, oh, we just wanted to test your patience and how you can do well under pressure.
8 a.m. to
6 p.m.
p.m.
And that
10
they were
hours.
so tired that only two of them were left, that they said they wanted to test their endurance level, how they could do well
Whoa.
under pressure
Whoa.
and under. I'm like, what
Whoa,
is
I think
that?
that's overstretched. Like, no way.
So
It's
what is
too
the
long.
boundary of all these tests? And when they sometimes say, how well can you work under pressure? What is the ultimate end? What's the relevance? Because that's a question. Sometimes I just want to yank some people's wig off.
Ah!
Why are you asking me how can I work? How well do I work under
Under
pressure? Do you plan on pressuring me?
Well, the work environment is a place of pressure. Well, to your question, well, to the incident you just referenced, well, I think that is, too overstretched to test the person's endurance level. I mean, what is the correlation between that and the job I have come to look for? So I mean, there would be exceptions, and there would be people who, I mean, indulge in practices that are totally off. But what I do know is it's important to evaluate the job and find the appropriate assessment tests that can help you determine, these candidates' fitness for the job in terms of both the soft skills and, the technical skills that are required to perform the role. So I am involved in assessments where we conduct group sessions, and group sessions where you give them like a case study to, look at and then come up with responses, and both groups can ask each other questions. There are so many things that we're observing while you're doing that assessment, because all of those things are very, very key to, you being successful on the role. So if it's not relevant, I don't think we should waste our time too long looking for irrelevances. So it's important to profile the job properly and then design assessment tests that can help you test the candidate's, eligibility for the role. Sometimes you also want to check these candidates' preparedness or readiness for the role. Some people are not prepared. I mean, we have touched on that. Some people they are prepared, but they're not ready in terms of maybe the time that they can join the organization.
Yeah.
And the company might want to hire right away, but you're saying, oh, I need to give 3 months notice or 2 months notice. And, depending on how much they can wait, might not also, get the job. So, I mean,
Okay.
usually you shouldn't keep a candidate waiting for 10 hours. Even an hour is too long because you have scheduled them for an appointment, and it's totally unprofessional to keep them waiting.
Again, I'm glad that you touched on it because this next comment says, I demanded for an apology for the interview starting about 1 hour behind schedule. The look on the faces of the panel members, especially the lady, told me I wasn't what they were looking for. So in this case, do you think the applicant is wrong to have demanded for an apology for them coming late or starting late behind schedule? Or it is something
Well,
that should just have happened naturally?
It's not something that should just have happened naturally, and I don't think it was necessary to demand for an apology. I mean, it's what they should even tender. I have done it before where while I was running late, I came in and I did ask for I did tender my apology. I think it's just being respectful, of the time they have spent waiting and the fact that you even regard the person as a human being. And so I think it's just basic manners, like I would like to put it. But I wouldn't demand for an apology. I don't think that was necessary. My opinion, though.
Okay, all right then. For someone, there are times you want to make a statement and say, "Oh, I will not take this from you, and I deserve to be respected. I'm a human. You should treat me as such." Well, different folks,
Right.
or different strokes for different folks. Going further, so back to that thing of, we'll get back to you. How should you get back? When should you get back? Should you get back at all?
Well, I know I've been guilty of this as well several times.
We forgive you.
But usually, yes, you should get back to them. Just like this, I love the word you use. You use closure. Like let's just put an end to this, so the person is not expecting and waiting. So usually, yes, you should get back to the candidates that you're not going to proceed with, especially when you already have someone who have accepted the offer and maybe you have even resumed the job.
And someone is still waiting.
So you can send out rejection emails, rejection texts, messages, to just say, oh, we thank you for, the time spent to attend our sessions, and we do wish you, all the best in your career and all of that. So I think it's appropriate to send rejection letters, and that's even standard practice. But like I said, sometimes a lot of work, things just slip by. But as much as we can, it's good practice to send rejection emails, text messages.
Yeah, please take that, because it has now become something that was not supposed to sound as a rejection, has now been termed as rejection. Once you hear, we'll get back to you, people just term it as rejection because they almost never get back to you.
Right.
So please, organization, employers, please do get back to them, be it with the positive news or the negative news, so that somebody is not out there in their church or in their mosque praying and saying, "Oh Lord, give me my employment letter," that kind of thing. So please let them know if you will be taking them or you are not taking them. We're talking job interviews, the do's and don'ts, the roles of the HR manager, the hiring manager, and also the applicants here on Office Journal 981. My guest is Abimbola Balogun. She is an HR professional, and my name is Oluwaseun Olusegun. We'll take a last break, and when we come back, we'll wrap this up. Just the final tips, the recommendations, and some other extra knowledge you should have before going for your next job interview.
Smooth 98.1. Absolutely no one does it better.
Love music. Love life.
Nobody does it better. Yeah.
Beat Sakma with Jumia Black Friday. From November 4th to the 30th, you can get access to all those products you've had your eyes on all year at prices that will leave some change in your pocket. You also don't have to pay for delivery fees
Mr.
on thousands of
Kimamo
products
is
when you
hailing
order
you
above
on
1,999
YouTube.
naira. T's and C's apply.
Saying it's good to see you. So, secret and certified HR guru.
My big bro.
This is only a taste of our next release. Suffering and smiling.
The Real Lagos Talks. Only on Smooth 98.1.
In my environment, politically, my society is underdeveloping because of an alien system on our people.
The facts, the truth, the news, your opinions.
My one and only question is, who has bewitched Nigeria?
When you talk, Lagos listens because we bring to the fore the top headlines and the daily essential stories about the nation as they happen.
Lots of billions of naira have been voted for security. Nothing is coming out of it.
May I say, now your fault we got. From harsh economy to trickery politics, sports to entertainment, we talk it all.
My people.
When you talk, Lagos feels your pulse.
What I know about you quiet.
Lagos Talks on Smooth 98.1, Mondays to Fridays from 9 a.m.
Every one of us will have a chapter for history.
It's Office Journal here on Smooth 98.1. We are drawing to the end of it, and it has been a very interesting conversation. My name is Oluwaseun Olusegun, and my guest is Abimbola Balogun. She's an HR professional and also the co-founder of So Fresh Nigeria. We are talking about job interviews. I'm sure a number of people are discussing among themselves and saying, I remember that time that it was so terrible. And this applicant or this person said, you stay on the island, or rather, you stay on the mainland, and we are looking for a job on the island. I'll read this particular one. So she said on the CV that they asked where she lived, and she says she stays at Igbelerin, I don't know how to pronounce it, Igbelerin Okokomaiko, while the office was in VI. And the whole panel gave themselves a stare and said, they will get back to her. And of course, they never got back to her. And that is not the first time. In fact, I have had somebody telling me, or I've had somebody told me that when you are applying to some certain jobs, if it is on the island, if it is a big corporation, organization, and it's all those elite places, make sure that you do not write the specific place you're staying, especially if it is on the mainland. So it's better you do not even write your address at all. And if you get to that point where they're asking you, where do you stay? You can say, oh, you stay on the island or you stay close to the island. Now, have you ever been in a situation like this? And aside that, do you think this should be a normal thing? Or now I probably can give an excuse in my head that okay, maybe they need you to be on time and they do not want the excuse of traffic and all of that, but should that be a determining factor for hiring somebody?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Time is of essence, and time is a resource. Okay, so I would like to start by saying even a properly written job ad, right, should have,
Indicated.
given us, yes, should have indicated the where the job or where the office, will be at, so that people applying are guided. And if I'm still staying at Michael or wherever, and I still applied for a job on the island, perhaps I have somewhere to, stay and all of that. So I said that distance is one of the determining factors because I cannot hire you and you always come in to the office late with the excuse that there's traffic. So that cannot work. And it's important that at this selection phase, we are able to, trash that out before we get into giving ourselves contracts and then I terminate your, employment, midway or very early. So it does matter. And if that is critical to your selection criteria, I think it's important to let it, be disclosed on the job posting so that people who are applying are people who either can make other arrangements around staying close to, the office address or, finding their way around it. So, but yes, it should be a reason why I wouldn't want to choose this person over this person because it's not going to work for me. You won't be able to, attend to business as at the time that I need you to attend to work.
Ouch.
I'm
That's sad.
sorry. I'm sorry, but that's it.
And well, it's fair enough. So everybody, I mean, it's fair enough. However, I think, like you mentioned, they should specify beforehand that we will not be hiring people from this location, no, so that you don't have to lie or you don't have to feel bad when you get there and feel discriminated against. So on WhatsApp, Cisco Delgado says, I have attended a banking sector interview where they took us to a restaurant for eating and same time asking you questions, after which they will ask you to go. The person that passed the interview said when they asked him questions during eating, he asked the interviewer to hold until he finishes eating. Table manners. What? You know, that just reminds me of
That's a
one.
setup.
It is a setup. I'll read out this one that I also saw.
I
So
saw something similar on Twitter as well. That's
yeah,
a setup.
this is it. He said during the interview, one of the staff walked in and stretched his hands towards me for a handshake. I stretched mine
Right.
and he said, next
I saw
time,
that.
stand when you want to shake someone. I replied,
my
can't you see I am in an interview?
Oh my goodness.
What is all this setup? So
In
what do you
fact, I read one. She said she got to the restaurant and called that she's here, and then they said you can place your order for whatever you want, and then the guy went ahead to order and order, and when they all came, and after the interview, they brought the bill and it was 45K. All of them they just looked at him like, hey,
That's
and
the
they didn't say anything again. I'm like, yeah, God, I am eating my job.
Oh
Oh my
my.
goodness. Yeah, so
It looks like they're not just looking for somebody to fill the job, or maybe the only other thing I can think about is there are too many applicants and they're looking for a way to cut down everybody. Because I don't know. How do you. It's just settled. Anyways, we have just about 2 more minutes to the end of this. What will be your final recommendations and just tips for both the HR manager and also the applicants?
thank you. For the HR manager, I think it's important to be prepared to ask great questions that can help you actually determine this candidate's fitness for the role. And you need to also, reflect the culture of the organization, be respectful, and, be very mindful, be self-aware, be mindful about how you also project yourself across to the candidates. It's a Q&A session, right? So you ask them questions and then give them the time to respond to it. Even from the interview stage, that is where you begin to, form rapport with the with the candidates, because the person that you eventually would select might even agree or accept your offer based on how you made the person feel during and after the interview. So how we make people feel, it's also very important. They've come to look for a job, genuine job. I mean, it's not nice to make them feel bad or be condescending by how you speak to them. And for the candidates, I think it's proper for you to also go prepared for the day of battle. So you're going for a battle, right? You're going for a battle, and it's just reasonable to be prepared with the right arsenals, which will be your information, research about the company, go to their website, look at what they do, their vision, their mission, the founders, how long they've been in business. I mean, it's sad to ask such questions at the interview and candidates have no clue. So why are you here? Like, what's your intention of coming here to work? So so just those basic things, take note of it, and dress appropriately for the meeting. And be self-aware as well, your body language, how you smells, be mindful of that. You don't want to wear perfumes that are too much, and you don't also want to smell awful. It might make them even quickly round up your session, and they'll just say, why should we you can go, like they're not comfortable. So yeah, and that would be all from me, and I wish you all the best.
I'm laughing because I remember seeing somebody's tweet saying that he was in this interview session and one of the interviewers had a terrible mouth odor, and that he could not wait to leave the place, that he didn't even turn back, that they were asking, why are you squeezing your face, what's wrong? So yes, everybody should be respected, please. You, the applicant, respect yourself by finding more, doing your due diligence, also taking yourself seriously. And the HR manager, please treat the other person as a human. You are the human resource manager after all. So please treat them as humans. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me again.
It's a pleasure.
I've had a good time, really.
Yeah. All right. It looks like your messages are still coming in. Unfortunately, I cannot take them anymore. Cisco Delgado. All right, so we will save this video for you on YouTube, and then you can share with your family and friends. We'll also save it for you on our WhatsApp status so that you can be a part of it and just have the information at hand. It has been Office Journal here on Smooth 98.1. You can find my guest on Instagram and also on Twitter at Beams Fresh. Beams So Fresh. Yeah, that's BIMSOFRESH. That's it. All right. On the other side, you'll listen to the news, and after that, we will be back with the soul music here on Smooth 98.1.
Gold swag on Smooth 98.1. The smoothest dial.
Thank you.
One
an interviewer was calling me liars. I was answering questions at the end. They said you're only testing my patience on how to handle customers. Well,
so they were calling my liar to get her upset.
Yes.
Noise in class.
Set up.
Brian said that the bomb.
Well, I mean, it's understandable to simulate life scenarios. I remember somebody saying that